your head, pick up your body, get on the bus, it's time to party. It's Gregory, it is a Saturday night Gregory. Take your socks off and take your pants on, get in the car and drive on.
Welcome to Friday Night Greg. It's Wednesday morning.
It's called Friday Night Greg.
Yeah, Friday Night Greg. Friday Night Energy on a Wednesday
Wait, it's
morning.
not a Friday night though.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't know that though. Do they know that?
Yeah, because it comes out on Wednesdays. It's
Oh my god, this already makes no sense.
Friday Night Energy.
Sorry, I interrupted your intro.
This is what we. You think I'm not going to interrupt you for the rest of this podcast? Let's start it early. Friday Night Energy, Wednesday morning. But if you want, you can wait till Friday. Play it, get high.
But
get
Thursday
drunk.
night for us.
I don't know what today is.
It's Thursday night, Greg.
So we got Thursday Night Energy.
Yeah.
You're spoiling the energy for the fans.
There's so many different days involved here. It's like,
We try to get all 7 days involved in the intro.
oh, I see. Good.
So we record it
Like God.
like just.
God got all 7 days involved in the intro of the Bible, right?
Oh my God, are we just getting
Wow,
into God
holy
right off
shit.
the bat? Let me say who you are.
Sorry.
This next guy, geez, I'm blanking. I want to say Derek. No,
Wrong
Coleman.
black guy, Greg.
I was trying to get a not black guy name. I thought, is Derek a black guy
Derek
name?
Gaines, isn't that a comic?
Derek Gaines is
Didn't
a
you
black
know that?
guy. Yes, he's the guy I thought
He's
of.
funny.
He's funny. Yeah, and he's black.
He is also that.
But then there's my friend Derek, who's white.
Ah.
And then there's my friend D-Rock, also black, 2 to 1.
Yeah, I could guess D-Rock was black.
Yeah, he used to call me
Although-
G-Man. Hey, yo, G-Man. That's
He used to call you G-Man?
Yeah, it was so beautiful. Hey, yo, G-Man.
Best moment of your life, right?
So, I used to, this long story short, the fans know about this, but you don't. I worked at a TGI Fridays as another guy for 6 months. I came in this character. I used to just,
As a different guy.
literally as a character named Gus Dakota. The manager was in on it. He was like, yeah, fuck it. So I just showed up as this character.
Did you dress differently? There's like kind of a Tony Clifton situation?
Yes, just like that. Fake
Okay.
sunglasses, fake mustache. Used to come in, yell at the customers.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
What was his name?
Gus Dakota, Uncle Gus.
Gus Dekota.
Oh, you fucking AAA, right? Yeah, old Gus. He used to
Okay.
karaoke legend. A whole thing.
Okay.
I would talk to Derek all the time. One day I
Was
showed
just
up.
Derek also working at the TGI?
Yeah, he was just my friend. He was just a cool guy.
It's not Derek Gaines.
Not Derek Gaines.
White Derek. Your
Black
friend.
Derek.
Black
No,
Derek.
Black Derek.
That's your
D-Rock.
friend. D-Rock.
D-Rock.
Why
This
did
is
you call him D-Rock?
way too much for this
Sorry.
dumb story.
All right, go ahead.
D-Rock sees me in regular
Uh-huh.
Greg. He goes, hey, yo, G-Man, you got to see this guy, Gus. He's crazy. He had no idea
No
I was him.
fucking way.
And he was like, you got to come see him. This guy's crazy. I think he got a fake mustache. And I was like, oh, Derek, I'll try to go see him.
That is
Like, yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, it's the best. It was the best.
Did
I
you
was
make
like,
Did you make a date to see Gus?
If you think I'm lazy now, you should have saw me when I was 22. It was wild. No, I would talk to him all the time, and he loved Gus. It was like they were like boys. I'd be
Wow.
like, yeah, he would like run all my food
But he
out.
hated Greg.
No, he loved Greg.
Did he tell?
the
It'd be
fun-
funny if he told Gus, like, dude, this guy Greg's getting on my fucking nerves.
But did I even introduce you
He's
yet?
such a square. Yeah, like, and you were like, yeah.
Yeah, I just found out. He was like, I've been fucking Greg's wife, and what am I gonna do? How am I gonna tell him? Yo, Gus, tell me. You son of a bitch. Coleman Hughes from you have a podcast. I know you from
Conversations with Coleman,
Conversations with Coleman,
creatively titled.
and I saw you on Bill Maher, and I learned of you from Sam Harris's podcast.
Yes,
That's what got me. And then we
Yes.
did You Know What Dude together,
we did.
where Bobby cut me off every time I tried to talk.
That's
and I was
right.
like, I got to get this guy.
And
on my
Ari
podcast.
Shaffir accused me of trafficking underage girls across state lines.
I think I was out because I remember I went
You were
down
out
to do
when
a
he did
spot,
That's right.
and he did that. He did.
He was like, now Greg's gone, I can really talk shit. Coleman, he's the one that like traffics underage girls across state lines to like where there's legal and then has sex with them and then brings them back, right?
that's a bit. I mean, if you're going for a bit, why not just ruin someone's life?
I was like, wow.
And then he was like, I'm fucking Greg's wife. It's like, damn. But like, so how did you, all right, first, let me just, because I got to get some background on you, because I don't
Sure.
understand. First of all, I heard you on Sam Harris's podcast. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is a cool 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and I met you. This is how I met you.
Uh-huh.
I did a show. I was at the Cellar.
Yep.
And I came down.
Outside the underground, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you were the girl, and
Uh-huh.
she was like, this is why improv and stand-up are better and different. And I was like, whoa. She was saying that stand-up is better than improv, and I was just trying to like,
She was saying stand-up was better than improv, or the other way
it
around.
may have been either.
I think she was saying maybe the other way around.
It's possible.
I don't know.
But I remember I was just trying to say it like I have a speech about that. So I was like trying to talk.
I was very drunk.
Yeah, but you were listening. She wasn't listening. And I saw you and you were going like, yeah, all right. So
Yeah.
this. And I was like, I know who this guy is, but he gets it. I was like, this guy gets it. She was hammered. And then you were like, Coleman. And I went, I know this fucking guy. I know this fucking guy from somewhere. And I literally think I had just seen you on like Bill Maher. It was like very fresh. It was like very fresh in my mind. And then that was that. And then now we're here.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
But you're also from Montclair,
That's right.
which is very exciting because I'm from Bloomfield.
That's right.
New Jersey
And
boy.
we talked about that.
Yeah.
And I remember you stuck in my head partly from that night, but then I think I also saw you. Did I see you do a set that night or a different night?
You definitely, yes.
I saw you
did
do a
see me
set
that
that
night,
night.
and I'm pretty sure I had a horrible set.
Oh, okay.
Unless I didn't, I don't know.
Well,
my standards are much higher.
whenever I saw you initially, I thought you were very funny. And you had a joke about abortion and why would Christians be against it if it's a easy pass to heaven, which I thought was very clever. But the audience, I thought it was clever and actually just funny.
Yeah.
The audience kind of,
They get tight.
they got tight a little bit.
Now, I'll
on
say
that
this.
one.
In the comedy world, it's not great to tell people's jokes that they haven't put out yet. No big deal.
Oh, fuck.
That's
I
on the
didn't
next
know you
special.
didn't put it out
Jesus
Christ.
Nicole, you can edit that out. Also edit him out. Edit everything he says out. Let this be a Greg Alone podcast today. Yeah, no, I have a joke, which I don't mind talking about. It's because it doesn't make, let's just start with that. Like, because am I crazy? But it's wild to me that Catholics are against abortion because they literally believe in heaven.
Right.
They literally like do good, go to heaven. So this
And
would
heaven
be
is
easy
an
pass to heaven.
eternity. Heaven's an eternity. This is a blip.
A blip.
If you get a, if you get a quick shot to heaven, that seems like more of a gift than a.
Right.
Yeah.
You get 80 years here. Also.
And also, you in 80 years, you can fuck up a lot of things.
Fuck up.
You can't fuck up anything if you're a baby. You're innocent. So you go straight to heaven.
And it's an eternity in hell.
Yeah.
So think of this, and I know you're on the same page, and I'm screaming.
No,
I'm
it's
screaming.
You just kind of are right about this. Like, logically, I think you are correct about this.
Right. But
Like, what would the objection even be?
I think the objection is that the people who are on Earth are like, well, if I got to do this, you got to do this shit too. Like, no way you get a free pass.
Of like not having a baby? What do you mean?
Also,
Oh, if I have to go through the whole life thing and get into heaven,
Mm-hmm.
why do you get a free pass?
let me throw this. Are you familiar with Christianity at all? Like, do you? I don't know if you.
No, never heard of it.
Can you edit that out? Edit out all his snarkiness. Like, also, and tell me if I'm wrong here.
Uh-huh.
God sent his son to die for the world.
Mm-hmm.
How is that not abortion? That is late stage abortion. He literally was like, I'm going to kill my son for everyone else.
The 90th trimester?
Oh, was the math right on that? Because I saw you look. It wasn't. I, looked at me. I trust you're smarter than me, so that might have been right.
Close, I don't think.
Also murdered all of the Egyptians, the firstborn. There is
Right.
nothing
You do a lot of that.
in the Bible that says God's against killing babies and or children.
So apparently, I didn't know this until very recently. This guy, John Ronson, do you know him? He wrote a great book called So You've Been Publicly Shamed like 10 years ago.
You lost me at read a book.
It's true. I knew I did. I could tell.
I just not paying attention. I have to start.
He's like this British guy,
Okay.
wrote a great book about like cancel culture before cancel culture was a term.
Yeah.
People getting shamed and their lives getting destroyed because they did one thing. It was a beautiful book.
Sure.
And he just recently did a 10-part podcast on cancel culture, kind of going like, forget about today, going back to the 70s and 80s and looking at the seeds of what today we call the culture wars. And one of the episodes was about how abortion became an argument in this country,
Ooh.
which blew my mind.
Hit me, dog.
So basically, 1970, like 1960s, Christian evangelicals, they have no strong opinions about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, they're probably pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like softly pro-choice.
What years? Sorry.
Like in the 60s.
Okay.
And so in the 70s, basically what happened is there was this guy whose name I forget, who was a filmmaker, and he made films meant to appeal to Christian evangelicals. And he made all these films. I mean, you could call them propaganda films if you want, but it's like, political films
Sure.
to cater to the Christian evangelical base. And he did them about all kinds of issues. He did it, just about all kinds of issues that Christians might care about. And one of them he did about abortion.
Uh-huh.
And he took, for the first time, sort of a pro-life position.
Okay.
And Christian evangelical audiences hated the movie. it sold horribly.
Really?
They would say, "Oh yeah, I love the video you did about alcohol. I love the one you did about premarital sex. It was selling out parks and movie theaters, showing this to Christians. But I really the abortion one just,
So there
just
were
didn't touch me.
I'm excited.
So then what happens is the left, the feminist left at that time, got wind of there's this huge Christian filmmaker making this anti-abortion video,
God.
and they start coming to the things and protesting, saying, "Oh, you're horrible. My body, my choice." And then this gets reported and picked up in the press. Christian evangelicals go, "Oh, so these motherfucking lefty feminists are saying that we're bad people
Yeah.
because of the." And that's when that is when abortion began to become a Christian issue, when the pro-life position began to. Before that, they were like kind of like, I don't care, kind of pro-choicey.
I hate Earth.
Isn't that insane?
Yes. No, and it's in fun. First of all, can I offer you some Lagugulin? This is one of the finest scotches my podcast has to offer.
Okay.
Lagugulin, or we have some Woodford.
No, I'm okay.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't trust me?
I definitely don't trust you.
I'll drink it first.
Yeah. No, I mean,
You don't
you
want
can drink it first and second.
That's how I die. Kill myself. Does it kill you? Really? Not drinker?
No. Not tonight.
Okay. Something weird here. We're gonna get to the bottom of that. Something
Alright.
you know about me you don't trust. I don't get what's cooking here. But
Well, if I told you, then I have to kill you.
so let me ask. So let's get back into abortion. Are you pro or are you against? Can we talk about it? I love.
Oh God. Yeah.
I
So
love abortion.
yeah. Well, if I were a woman and got pregnant, probably now or certainly at any earlier point in my life, I'd get an abortion
Sure.
because at 20, I'm 26 now, but say I was 22 and got pregnant, I'd get an abortion.
Sure.
That is a separate question from whether it is a morally okay thing to do. I would do it.
Right.
And therefore, I
love-
cannot judge women for doing it and for wanting to do it.
Right. But do you think it's morally bad?
I think that it depends on the situation. I think that there is such a thing as an unborn life, right? Like, I don't think it's just a clump of cells.
No, it's life.
It's going to be you or me, like.
But what is life? What is life? This is where it all boils down to me. And if I cut you off,
No, go on.
what is life and when does life matter? When does a life matter, right? Because that's what you really have to judge. Because
Right.
life is a magic word.
Yeah.
The life. No, it's bullshit. What the fuck is a life, right? Because the minute as soon as the egg in the fucking thing and bang, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's potential to become a human
Yes.
or potential to live a long life. Okay?
Yes.
So when you're talking about potential, though, well, then that life means just as much as right before it's about to come out of the vagina, and it means just as much as a 5-year-old, right? And so I'm speeding through this, and I don't want to, but I want to see what you think about this, because this is my argument is this: life only matters if it will be missed, if someone will miss it.
You don't think it matters inherently?
No,
Really?
no.
So you
And I'd
think
love to be wrong.
So you think thought experiment, like a person that doesn't know anyone in the world,
Yes.
lives on an island, doesn't know anyone, no one will miss him. If he's struck by a lightning bolt, that's not a bad thing. That's a neutral thing.
Yes.
Really?
Because when you die, you don't care about you.
Okay, so what about if everyone on Earth dies painlessly in their sleep tonight? No one is around to miss anyone.
That's fine.
That's
a real.
fine,
I've
dude.
never thought that. So okay. So why
That's
would it?
fine. That's
why would it not be
no-
fine?
Well, because I think that.
Also, in a fun way. I mean, meaning
What
like
do you mean?
I don't know that I'm right or wrong, but I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
My belief is that the reason that ethics is even a thing, that there is such a thing as right and wrong, is because we have a conscious experience. We can suffer and we can flourish.
Mhm.
If we were like a table and there was nothing it's like to be us, then there would be no morality. There would be no good and evil. So I ground it in the fact that I think it is wrong for a guy to die on an island alone, because you are canceling the potential flourishing he could have had for the rest of his life.
So let me pause you there,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Sure.
I think it's more wrong for him to be alone because he's suffering. But when you die,
Yeah, that
you're
depends if
not.
he is in fact suffering.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's like, say he's like a monk. He's a
Sure.
wandering monk. He's meditating in pure bliss all the time because he's enlightened, but nobody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy.
Also,
He's at peace.
you can't judge potential. There's no way, because there is no such thing as, I don't know, like you can't, if you get shot right now, well, I can't be like, well, he was going to be one of the great, whatever, because like the minute you're dead, potential's over. There is no ifs. There is no whatever. There's just, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So as far as, I don't believe in potential, and I could probably, if I had a pen and paper, could figure that.
You don't believe in
way to put it.
potential. So in what sense?
In the sense of when you die, you never had any more potential than that.
Potential
Than to
is
die.
like a prediction about what you could become.
Right.
Right.
A prediction of what you could become. But that prediction is wrong if you don't become it.
That's right.
So you never were able to ever become it because you died. Right?
Uh-huh.
So if that monk gets struck by lightning,
Yeah.
the minute he got struck, his potential went to zero.
Sure.
So when I do not think it's sad for him to die unless I found out about him and then was like, oh man, I would have loved to have talked to him. Well, now he's missed. Now it sucks.
Yeah. So this gets back to your philosophy, which I think is wrong. Of that it's only bad if someone else. Okay. So why is someone else's emotions? Where does it end? Because if I only matter because I would be missed by my father, my sisters, etc. But why do their missing emotions matter?
Because
if they don't matter to. Do they need to matter to someone else?
They're missing you emotion. So I believe the only thing that matters in the world is good vibes, baby. It's good, is good feelings, right? Is feeling goods. So the minute you die to your parents, sadness is now entered the world. And so they will miss you. And because their feelings matter, because there's people now, they're suffering because of you.
Right.
But if you die and no one knows you or anything, there's no suffering in the world. Because
there's no additional suffering.
No.
But there is the absence of the flourishing you would have had you kept living.
Because potential's back down to zero the moment you die.
No, but like, if you weren't killed, you'd be alive to keep enjoying life and have good feelings. So to me, it's like a number scale. It's like a 2 minuses make a positive, and so you care about the feelings that do exist. If it's like my parents, whatever, but you don't care about the feelings I would have had I not been killed. Right?
No, yes. Wait, I don't know the correct answer if that's yes or no, but I will just say the sentence, which
I think
is
yes is your answer.
I do not care about those feelings because I don't believe in what could have been. I believe that if you die, no matter what, that's just how it was. I mean, that's how it was. Also, sorry, this is like a nothing question of like, how can you judge a nothing? But like, if no one is there to feel that missed feelings, then those feelings do not exist. Your feelings matter to you because you are alive.
What's interesting is that your position would lead more logically to a strong pro-choice position on abortion, right? Because if you abort the fetus, then it never really began being a life, or never began being a full-fledged human. So it's not around to miss its life.
Yeah, if no one wants you to party, you should leave. So like, I
don't know if that's the best.
No, but I mean, like, if I am pro-choice only because, I mean, I guess I'm pro-choice more because it's like, yeah, I mean, if mom wasn't want you there and no one else is there will want you or take you, then it's fine. Also,
I don't think your only worth is if you're worth something to other people. I think you're still worth something if no one gives a fuck about you.
Well, worth,
you know,
only matters to someone else.
No, self-worth, or else we wouldn't have the word self-worth.
Right, self-worth. That's to something. But if you're dead,
it's not to someone else.
Okay, yes, but let me correct it. But self-worth matters to you. But the minute you die, you have no self. Therefore, you have no self-worth. Therefore, you have no worth.
That is true. But I mean, but then it's just like fine to kill anyone.
Yes.
As long as you also kill everyone who would miss them.
About them, yes.
So basically, murder is not okay in your view, but mass murder is okay insofar as you get the right people.
as long as you get every single person who ever heard of him. It's a real mob way. It's a real.
That is a very strange and totally wrong morality.
You can't say wrong until you get me why it's wrong. And I would honestly say, though, mass murder, no good, because you're never going to have a place where no one will know you're gone, right? I also say maybe this is fun to do for real.
I just don't see why are the people who miss me, why are their feelings inherently important, but my feelings about myself are not inherently important?
So that's the thing. I do say this. I say your feelings are important to you, right? But the minute you die, you no longer have feelings. You no longer have self.
Yeah, but you had a self that had an interest in continuing to flourish.
Yeah, so that matters then.
Yeah, but things that mattered, like I guess you're everything is like a time slice of the present for you, and anything that happened in the past
It's all
can't
gravy,
have
baby.
any moral relevance to the future, in your view.
Wait, I love where because you just clicked something I may not have been able to find myself. So hang on. You don't have to hang on. I'm talking to me then. I'm talking to me now.
My expectation, I have right now an interest in continuing to be alive as long as I'm healthy and happy. And if you cancel that, you're reducing the sum total of flourishing in the world in the long run by not allowing me to live my whole life.
No, so you're saying some. Well, that would mean that no other humans are being born and all of those things. I guess I'm saying that your mattering of only matters. This is crazy, right? Because it only matters till you die. Your vote is off the table when you're dead.
Your vote's off the table when you're dead. Yeah, there's nothing.
But you can keep voting till you're alive.
You can keep voting when you're alive, sure. But basically, my morality says that you want to increase something like you want to increase human flourishing, right? You don't want to decrease it.
What does that mean?
So,
flourishing. I mean, I'm just
it's,
really specific.
It's difficult to define.
Okay.
Obviously, but like it's the difference between your happiest moments and your saddest moments, the difference between what people felt in the Holocaust camps and what people feel being born in like sunny LA with like lots of food, and it's like the subjectively felt difference of generally flourishing versus generally suffering.
Sure.
It's impossible to define, but like we all kind of know.
No, I just wanted to
Anyway, so increasing that is the goal of morality. Getting rid of diseases that make people suffer. That's why curing malaria and curing AIDS and curing these are all
general
moral
happiness.
Yeah, to increase general
general
to the
happiness.
greatest number.
Right.
And so my morality, insofar as that's my morality, which it is, to cut my life off, say at like 26, even if I didn't know anyone, that's a world where I got 26 years of flourishing. The universe where you didn't kill me is a world where I may have gotten 80 years of flourishing, hence a better universe. Therefore is good. That's what I ground my morality in.
I don't know that you can quantify.
You can't quantify
that.
it particularly, but like being happier for longer is better.
Being happier for longer
Is better than being happier for shorter.
who?
For me.
For you.
Yes.
Again, when you die, doesn't matter.
Does it not bother you that your position actually justifies mass murder so long as it's all of the right people?
No, because
That doesn't bother you.
Because I have no power.
So if Hitler
and
had
I'm an
killed
idiot.
every Jew and Jews were insular enough that no non-Jews cared about any Jews, the genocide would have been fine to you.
See,
that's
the
not
thing.
as serious.
Take Jew out and fill piece of trash. If Hitler killed every literal person who wasn't making other people happy. Here's the thing: you have to understand this. This is all just
what
fun.
about pieces of trash? There's a lot of not pieces of trash that are only known in their insular communities. Like there's that island off the coast of of India that hasn't been touched for 60,000 years, and they all only know.
And so, a nuke just goes and wipes them out.
I would call that a genocide, essentially.
Right, I would too. But
on your view, it's actually not wrong because nobody cares about them.
No,
especially if no one knows about it. If it's done in secret, secret genocides are fine.
No, no, they're not, because a secret genocide is being done by someone who knows. Okay, that person knows,
but they're made happy by it.
They're made happy by it.
They're made happy by it because they're a sick fuck.
Okay, so let's play this out, right? And also, I just want to let this be known. This isn't a serious. I like to just talk to figure this shit out and be wrong. Like, that's fun for me. This is fun. This isn't me being like, yeah, let's turn people over to becoming genocidal. You've turned this argument, they've turned my abortion joke into now a argument, which is great. This is all very fun. So let's just walk.
What happens when you're a philosophy major?
Yeah, I couldn't afford college. I had a philosophy class. I loved it. And ethics.
You know, philosophy majors actually make a lot of money.
Really?
I saw a thing on Twitter today. They make like one of the top 5 money making majors, up there with like econ and engineering.
Yeah, but kind of like whatever. I didn't have the money when I was in college.
Right. No.
So I couldn't have.
But like the
money
stereotype is like philosophy, like, oh shit,
right?
You're not making any money.
Well, they'll make money because they're thinking outside the fucking box.
Smart,
yeah, you're figuring that shit out.
Yeah.
Which I totally understand. So I like your argument of, is genocide going to be okay, right, from one guy? But my argument would be, I don't know that there's a world where that could happen and literally no one would know. But also, okay, all right, let's be a dick about it, right?
But that's the point of a thought experiment, is to get to the core of the principle.
Right. Let's be a dick about it. An entire race of people die.
Yeah. Or let's say like an island of people natives uncontacted by anyone, which still exists.
And no one knows.
No one knows. It's secretly done. Nobody knows. And it's just covered up perfectly.
I think it's fine.
Really?
I think it's fine because...
Well, I think I rest my case then.
What is the case?
The case is a reductio ad absurdum. It's like, if your belief leads to that it's okay to do that, your belief is wrong.
Wait, why is my belief... Because
it makes something that's so obviously immoral okay in your
But my argument is that it's not immoral.
Yes, but
because what is immoral?
It's a reductio ad absurdum.
Just don't keep repeating the word I don't understand as if I'm going to now understand it.
You reduce an argument to an absurdity. If your argument... So, for example, if you make an argument that seems to make perfect sense, but it concludes like that 2 + 2 = 5, then that... It can't be right, because 2 + 2 = 4, and that's a fact we take for granted at base. You know, it's a fact we inherently take for granted before even argumentation.
Okay, well then I'll have to. Then if we have to play it that way,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Then I have to step back and go. Then in your argument, I would say there is really almost no case where you could.
No, but so like I present.
Here's why.
Go ahead.
So in order for you to do that, you'd have to wipe out every single person immediately at the exact same time, because the moment.
Sure.
Okay, the moment someone knows, boom.
Yeah. Sure. So that make that the
also okay. So let me. No. I'm also climbing it in my mind.
Yeah. Just
so I'm climbing the ladder.
Instantaneous.
To just go there.
Simultaneous fucking.
So we've changed that. Phew. And here's why I can make that immoral. Because my now goal is to make that immoral, just to make you happy, even though I think it's totally cool. I think. All right. So I hate doing this live because this is now going to think. Nobody wants you alive, then it's okay. That's my argument. If no one wants you alive, then it's okay.
Right.
Yeah. No one wants them alive. Okay, so let me throw this at you. Here's an argument. You have your argument of those people.
Sure.
What if someone like Hitler was able to kill all of the not Jews, but greedy, selfish, horrible people?
All of like the bad people.
All of the villains.
All of the villains.
Right. Who are creating more harm or non-flourishment in the world than flourishment.
Oh, I see. So if you were able to, in a targeted way, kill everyone that was truly decreasing the sum total of flourishing in the world, and somehow you knew that killing this person would for sure decrease.
Sure.
Sure.
Time machine
would for sure increase.
Whatever.
You had a godlike knowledge of like, oh shit. I mean, it would be hard for me to find a principled argument against that, but it's impossible in practice for.
Because now you're
many different.
So now you're
my scenario is much more possible in practice than yours.
No, I can create a machine. I can create a science fiction machine.
No, but you can't create a science fiction machine that knows that killing this person
piece of shit.
will decrease flourishing.
You're just. I can say that, okay, you can say like,
I would accept your arguments right in principle, but it doesn't actually change anything.
it does. Because what
Whereas
changes,
mine kind of does,
because now you're saying it's okay for genocide.
well, that wouldn't be genocide because it wouldn't be of like a race or ethnicity technically. That would just be mass killing, which is horrible.
But you're okay with
It
this.
basically would be mass death penalty of like evil people.
So it's
It'd basically be the death penalty without due process, but with perfect knowledge. That's basically what it would be,
but you're
right?
So you're saying it's
And by the way, I guess priced into it is that like, never mind. Sorry, continue it.
so I'm throwing at you.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that you're just as many people, let's just say in this magic scenario, are going to be murdered on my island as your non-island, right? And you're saying it's okay on the non-island for those people to die.
So I would say what I would really say is that, why can't we just put all of them in jail? Wouldn't that be better because they get to live their lives and they're removed from society? So we get all the benefits of the flourishing of them being non-existent.
No, because
but they also get to live.
Because them living in jail, let's just say this would probably cause their
More.
lives to be less flourished. So now they're adding to your numbers.
So
of
they would
flourishment.
prefer to be dead than to be in jail.
I'm not saying they would prefer to be dead, but you're adding more miserable people on planet by keeping them in jail.
So, but
I don't know where I'm going with this.
but I feel like
Painting
even
myself in a
people,
corner.
most people in prison don't kill themselves, and therefore, in their judgment, their shitty life is slightly better than no life at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I guess I was asking you if you would be okay with it. Are you okay with that kind of murder?
Am I okay with that? So
Because it's the less flourish.
yeah, I mean, so this, I would have to be okay with it if it were proven, which it couldn't be obviously, but if it were proven that it would increase the sum total of flourishing in the world in the long run, then yeah.
I can't prove, but on your argument, my argument is like, oh no, there's islands, it's magic, it's fine. But then my argument, you're like, well, magic doesn't exist.
What do you mean?
My argument of the one you gave me is this island and no one would ever know about these people and it's all gone.
Yeah.
And on this day with the internet and Google Maps, there's somehow that would happen.
Well, no one would miss them. That's not implausible. No one knows these people.
No, but that's the thing.
No one would miss them.
No one would miss them because I'm saying, if I were to take that argument, I
Yeah.
would say it's impossible for that scenario to happen.
No, it's not.
For an island that no one knows of these people exist.
An
and we're
island that's
never gonna
been.
But we're also
Yeah, no, that's-
we're never going to find out that they were seeing your argument.
Yeah. But my argument, quite frankly, it's actually probably happened literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Columbus came to the New World, is it crazy to think he came across a small island off the coast of Cuba that was totally isolated, gave them all smallpox, and they all fucking died?
Sure. But that wasn't on purpose.
No, it wasn't on purpose. But say it was.
Say he did it.
Say he lined them all up
Yeah.
against all up against the wall and shot them at the same time, right? And they live on an island, so they don't know anyone on any other islands. That's not implausible. That's very within the bounds of like the laws of
let's explore that.
of our world. That's very it's not otherworldly.
Sure. But
Whereas in yours, you need to have an omniscient sort of godlike knowledge of who are these people that are causing more net harm than, which is a very difficult thing to obviously add up.
so I could give you a fun. Okay, let me just parse. Let's just go to this other section for a second.
Yeah.
Because I do have a question about this. Also, I hope you don't take this as an arguing. I just
No, I'm
Okay. I hope this isn't. I don't really.
I'm having fun.
I like to just say wild things and see where we can. Let's just see what we could do with it.
Yeah.
Your Columbus thing is a really great example, and I want to talk about that, right? So let's say that Columbus did. Let's just. It's a fact. Some guy murdered an entire people on an island, and no one ever knows about it. You're saying, and I'm saying, we don't know about it now. Is that bad? How can we judge whether or not that's bad or good if we truly don't know about it? So how can we say it's morally correct or incorrect if there's no one that can tell us it happened or didn't happen?
So you can condemn something in the abstract. You can say something's wrong without knowing of any particular example of it ever having happened, I think.
Yeah, so I would agree that it is wrong to say it, but it's not.
I can say it, and I think it's a meaningful sentence for me to say it is wrong to line up a bunch of natives against the wall and shoot them all at the same time, even if I knew of no particular example of this ever happening. Just like I could say it's wrong to like rape a kid, even if I never had even like heard of anyone actually doing that. Or even if there was dispute as to whether someone actually did it in some case. You can condemn an action in the abstract without a concrete example of it, I think.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. I would say I would also condemn it, of course. But does it affect... So let me ask you this, right? So I'm sorry. I love this. I don't know.
It would be so much easier for you if you just admitted life is inherently valuable.
Oh, I don't care. I mean, not that I don't care. I just like, I don't care. I mean, like, I don't care. I mean, like, I don't care. Not that I don't care. I mean, I think every life, I'm way pro-life, but I'm also hypocritical because I'd be like, yeah, abort everyone. Like, I would have an abortion. I would, I'll have an abortion,
like I said,
but it's wrong. But fuck it. You know, like, my life is more important than that kid's life.
No, I think, you know what, to get back to abortion though, I think that is the crux of it. It's like, if I'm a 22-year-old that I have plans my whole life and I made a bad decision and got pregnant.
Right.
Now there is a tension between my flourishing,
right,
the plans for my life that I've gone to school for. I have all these big dreams that are intimately connected with my sense of flourishing, and the fact that there's a baby inside of me, which is going to take up all of my time, like suck away all of my dreams. And then God forbid it's like with a person that you really should not be with, that you're now sort of linked to for life because they're the father. So it is choosing yourself over someone else, which is the most natural thing in the world, and is always, people are always going to want to do it. So it should be legal. I'm very legally pro-choice.
Right.
I think it should be legal. I don't think it's always the morally correct thing to do.
My question for you is, you would do it, and then I ask you this, up until what age?
Yeah.
And where would you find there like really to be a line, and why is that the line?
I think I'm 26. I'm already probably getting to the age where I would consider not doing it.
I get it. Same.
You know, because I have a career that's, you know, doing pretty well, and I could, if I had to, I probably could support.
Well, let's say you're still 22 though. Like,
yeah,
have
22.
You thought about that?
22. I would have, get an abortion. I would have got an abortion. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I didn't clarify. My question's not right. What term abortion? Because I'm saying like, why not?
I see.
Why not a 1-year-old? Why not a 2-year-old? And where do you draw that line?
Yeah, I mean that is the $1 million question.
Right.
That is the $1 million question.
Can I add a little something to this?
Sure.
Real before I let you get your answer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I just had a baby. Right?
Is that right?
I just had a baby.
Congrats.
Yeah, I just had a baby, and dude, he was sucking his thumb
at like 10 weeks or something.
Not at 10 weeks. Oh, maybe.
He
was in the womb. Yeah, in the womb.
Early.
Yeah.
Earlier than liberals want to admit. That is true.
Came out of the vagina, still sucked his thumb, meaning he had a habit before he was born.
Yeah.
But also wasn't much different in the vagina, out of the vagina.
Right.
The idea that their birthday is out of the vagina is crazy. That's just the day he came out of the vagina.
Right.
Nothing changed the day before.
Right.
Or whatever, right?
Right.
And like you said at the beginning, like the cell, whatever, it's like the minute that happens to me, that's really life.
Yeah.
So then I guess to your argument, which I might be fine and cut me, you know, whatever, but it's like, I guess when you feel pain, then what do you think about that? Where is the line?
I'm legitimately undecided about that. I don't know because, you know, that's a scenario where we have to just find a practical line that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like all the European countries will do like 12 or 14 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But you could say, you know, I've heard one person make the argument, like, use the same definition of life you would use at the death, right? Like, if my heart stops beating, that's when I'd be defined as dead.
Sure.
So maybe when the heart starts beating, we should define it as alive. Other people say when it feels pain, and that's difficult to determine, and also like a little bit arbitrary.
Sure.
Because like there's a condition where you're born without the ability to feel pain.
Right.
I forget what it's called. Most of the kids die.
Yeah.
Because they like don't know to take their hand out of the fire and stuff. It's very sad. But, you know, the ability to feel pain is not the definitional criterion of life.
Yeah, I agree.
By any means.
Also,
So-
some people like pain. Like, there's so many things
Yeah.
that you could get into with that.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know about the line, where the line should be.
Can I tell you my real world? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You, I
no,
was
no.
pregnant pause?
I don't have much else to say about that.
I think I found my real world answer.
Uh-huh.
Because all of that was fake world. That's all fun. Let's see where we can go.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I think my real world answer is abortion should be legal because I'm pretty much undecided. Give people the opportunity to do it safely.
Yes.
And that being said, Christians, all you motherfuckers, your goal is to get so good at your job that you can convince people to not do it.
Yes.
That's the
That's
goal.
right.
The goal is education.
That's right.
The goal is if they have
Convince people to be better with contraception to
Yes.
begin with, and then to
to, which is such an
consider
easier answer.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then to consider, consider not getting an abortion.
Yeah.
Persuade people using whatever persuasion tools, arguments, and so forth.
Free healthcare, free
And make it
childcare.
obviously make it easier. Yeah, make it
Yeah.
easier for people to have kids financially.
That's so much easier for me to figure out than whether or not I should kill all these people on an island. You know, like it's just like, can we just do that? Because that's a way easier
Yeah.
thing to decide.
But listen, they think it's. I mean, they believe that it's murder, full stop, and they are acting. Once you believe that, everything about pro-life advocacy becomes rational.
But don't we think it's murder? Full stop.
I don't know that it's murder, full stop. I think that it is.
Self-defense.
It's not quite. It's not quite murder, full stop.
right.
Is it? I mean, it's. I don't think it's the same as me stabbing you on the fucking subway
That seems
For
very
20 bucks.
specific.
when you go home after your podcast,
you
after your
blink when
Thursday
you
night
say that?
podcast.
Jesus Christ, in my soul, you said that right through my chest.
Outside of your apartment on West 23rd Street.
Jesus Christ. So I want to add something else to the abortion. Abortion, we're good.
Yeah.
We got it. Nailed it.
Done. In the bag.
So you were saying life stops, heart stop, right? Which
Generally, that's sort of common sense stuff. I don't know if that's actually true.
I do.
But,
I'll
in
just
the
take-
movies, when the beep, beep, beep.
yeah, it's a brain failure or heart failure.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
So let me throw this at you. What if we do find out how to take someone's DNA, bring them back to life?
Like Jurassic Park style.
Right. And then what becomes then is cremation now the real murder? Because now you've destroyed all the DNA.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Right. So maybe people when they're alive would be able to decide, well, like you are now, you
Yeah.
can decide whether to be cremated or whatever. But
If you can't afford to be frozen, now you're saying all rich people get to be essentially immortal.
right.
This which brings up another argument, which if we had an immortal pill, give you a pill, you become immortal. The minute you have that, if you start not giving it to, can you not give it to a killer or rapist? If you're saying you're going to be immortal for billions of years, you rape someone, we don't give you the pill.
Yeah.
Like we said before with God and life being eternal. Now we're making gods.
Yeah.
How could you have to give an immortality pill to a murderer? Well, they fucked up once when out of a bajillion years.
Yeah.
I don't know what the question is here. I just said that to you. You
Okay.
deal with it. You deal
I
with
don't
it.
know. I don't know. Wait, can we go back to abortion?
Of course, sorry.
Just because I've had one thought that I think is a very interesting and good thought that
Yeah.
I don't see very many people talk about.
Okay.
Which is what happens so obviously you can have a premature baby now up to a certain point and they can survive in an incubator.
Mhm.
In the sci-fi future, when we have incubators that can basically take a fetus from conception
Sure, 10 minutes.
all the way to term, when that day comes, what's the moral status of abortion? When you can just not go through the pregnancy
Yeah.
at all, and put it up for adoption, and it can survive and just be like.
Yeah, I think the minute you can do all that, it's pro-life all the way.
Because then there's health to the mother becomes
Right.
irrelevant, which is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just becomes now about whether you want this future person to exist.
let's get it even crazier. Let's see if we can go further. Is there a way
On
to
that day, I'm not sure you can argue for abortion when that day comes.
I don't. I agree with
Plausibly.
you. I think it's you're
Because
pro-life.
that, that's me or you. That, like, then it just becomes, would you have wanted to be aborted? It becomes also about dealing with the emotions of having your kid out there in the world and you not being responsible for them. But that can't trump the right to life, really.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But what if someone were to take your egg or whatever and then connect it without your consent? Say you don't consent. So like sperm egg, right? Let's say you're a smart guy.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take your sperm without you knowing.
How? You're going to jack me off, like attack
I'm
me on the street?
going to grab you in your bed and I'm going to jack you off to culmination and I'm going to put it in a jar. And
It sounds amazing. Why? This doesn't sound like a threat at all.
No, but I mean to exactly what you're saying, right? I love this idea of like, if the minute it's whatever conceived, well, what if someone were to steal your sperm and with their mouth? I don't even know if I care about this argument anymore because now we're having a good. I mean, yeah, I guess like what do you think about stealing like if I were to steal? Do you think it's crazy for let's say I steal your genetics, I steal your sperm, put it in my wife's egg. My wife, because she's a big fan, to raise your thing without your. Do you have rights to your genetics?
I would have to say yeah. Like if
Say yeah.
if anyone owns them, I gotta own them. Certainly you
So
don't
can you
own
abort
them.
that?
Can I abort that?
Keep that from happening?
Wow.
That's what I'm asking.
Wow, that's a deep question. So you steal my genetics and make a baby. I mean, again, that's actually a really tough one because I'm pretty smart, man. I made no decisions to bring that into the world.
Right.
But on the other hand,
there's no harm coming to you.
It has an interest in existing independent of my feelings. If I do let it grow up and ask, are you glad that you had a life versus not having a life? Probably the only honest answer would be, yeah, I'm kind of glad I was given a chance to live in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. There is this philosopher, I forget what his name is, maybe David something, but he basically argues that life is actually, for most people, it is more suffering than happiness, and the ethical decision is to not bring anyone into the world.
No.
Like it's unethical to have children, and actually kind of like suicide basically is logical.
I thought about that. Like whatever. But I think that the high points. So if I have a day today, so yesterday, right? My day was whatever. But I got an action figure in the mail. It was one I was waiting on a long time. I was very excited about it.
Wow.
So all of the day.
Wonder Woman?
You wish, you piece of shit.
Which one was it?
It actually wasn't. I'm making this up. But if we had to say, it'd be Spider-Man.
For you, not for your baby.
Can you edit this motherfucker out? No, I was just picking.
No wonder your wife wants my sperm. You're fucking playing with action figures all day.
This guy with a knife. Edit him with a knife, Nikki. No, but I think there's a. I do have a point here. Mm-hmm. You leave the jokes to me, all right, pal? All right, you're the big idea guy. I'm the joke guy. I'll punch you up. You don't punch me up. Yesterday, I got an action figure. Mm-hmm. Made my day. Waiting on him for months. Mm-hmm. Finally came. Mm-hmm. That was my day. Right. Mm-hmm. All of the shit that happened for 24 hours really didn't matter because that one moment made the day. So I think the value of most of life is suffering, but the few points that are great outweigh the suffering. Abraham Lincoln's life, he did so many years before he ended slavery and was a president. How long was he president? 3 years? 4 years? That's nothing compared to all of his life.
Just making log cabins and shit.
I don't know.
I
don't know that this is going well. No, I'm just kidding.
So there's this idea of the experiencing self versus the remembering self. Mm-hmm. This famous psychologist, I think Daniel Kahneman, came up with this idea that when we ask whether people are happy, like there's researchers that study happiness, which countries are the happiest. You always see these clickbait articles. Oh, Costa Rica's the happiest, blah, blah.
Sure.
But there's a serious science of people studying who's happy. Mm-hmm. Are richer people happier than poorer people, etc. And Kahneman came up with this idea that there are two different ways of measuring happiness, and that most of us care about both of them. One is the experiencing self, which is like, say, I'm just going to ping you 5 times a day and say, how are you feeling right now? What's your mood? And you go, oh, I'm bored. I'm angry. I'm happy. And then you add up all of those and say, Greg was happy 12% of the time today.
Sure.
And Coleman was happy 14% of the time. Therefore, so that's the experiencing self, moment to moment mood.
Can I add,
summed over a long time?
Can I add into that real quick before you go to the second one?
Yeah.
The moment you ping me, let me tell you this: I'm not anything until you ask. Then I go, I'm happy. Right?
You weren't thinking about
I
it.
wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if you,
But you still have moods. Like, you're in a mood.
sure, I mean, like,
Your mood can be better or worse.
I think that there's ups and downs, but I think a lot of it is pretty neutral for the most part.
Okay.
You know, so I think whatever. So I think that that's actually something we should think about. Like, it's like that is a thing. Like, the moment you ask me, I go, I'm actually pretty happy.
Right.
Oh, I'm actually kind of miserable. Like, I might not even be acknowledging it.
Right.
I don't know if that adds to anything or if I just interrupted you for no reason, but I think there's something there.
No. Anyway, so
Come on.
no, that's no, whatever.
Go ahead.
So experiencing self,
Right.
and then there's the remembering self, which is when I ask you, how do you think of how you've spent your life? Are you proud of how you spent your life? And then some people have different answers for that. Some people will say, well, I really regret not. I wasted my 20s, or, people have big ideas about, I feel like I haven't accomplished enough in life. Other people will say, I'm extremely proud of my legacy. Abraham Lincoln would say, I helped end slavery. That's part of the feather in his cap. It's what he thinks about on his deathbed of like, kind of, or for a lot of people, it's their kids, it's their family. For a lot of people, it's, I didn't spend enough time with my family. So that big stroke remembering self, how you remember the arc and narrative of your life. And Kahneman basically says, happiness is a mixture of both of those things. It's a mixture of having a good experiencing self from moment to moment, not being in pain all the time, not being in a shitty mood all the time, but also having these, having a good considered opinion of who you've been and what you've done in your life.
Right.
And some people may try to reduce it to one or the other, but Kahneman's saying it's both.
And to that, I don't know if this floats with that, but a lot of it is like, so I could have a miserable, let's just say I had a girlfriend broke up with me, miserable time, right?
Yeah.
But I remember it is the moment looking back and go, thank God I didn't marry that girl. She was crazy. So that's not really a good example. What I'm trying to get at is that you can remember things that at the moment were horrible.
Yeah.
And remember them as wins, like exercise, brutal exercise.
You notice every veteran, not every veteran, but many veterans that, Iraq, maybe not Vietnam, but like Iraq, Afghanistan, when they come back, even if they had several buddies killed, they will often remember it as the most meaningful time of their life.
Right.
Even though it was like unadulterated suffering kind of the whole time.
Right.
And horror. So that's the remembering self, liking, being happy about something that the experiencing self probably was quite miserable during.
Yeah, I mean,
so there's a tension between those two things. And one thing Kahneman says is that money makes much more of an impact on one than the other. Rich people, I believe, I could be getting this wrong, but rich people have much happier remembering selves. Bill Gates is very happy about the life he's lived, right? Even though he may not have actually been, if you sampled his mood moment to moment, there are middle income people that probably score higher on happiness than he does.
Hate to get all like Sam Harris-y on you, but but all of that, and this comes from me working in an ER and watching. I've been with a lot of people who
worked
died.
in an ER.
Yeah, I worked
that's
in the
right.
ER.
I think we mentioned this. You talked about this before, but that's great. It's always felt like a brutal.
Yeah, I spent a lot of last moments with people.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time with people who were dying.
Yeah,
and what's crazy about all of that is that it is all almost like mindfulness and perspective, right? You have all these people who, like, through anyone else's eyes, who've been like, you had a happy life, but they're miserable people. There's always miserable, right? So a lot of that is.
Wait, say that again. From other people's perspectives, they would have thought
right.
to have lived a happy life.
How many times can you look at like a comedian and go, that guy must be so happy, and then you talk to them and you go, this guy's a miserable fuck. Right, but it's
that's what I've been feeling about you this whole.
Yeah, I'm like, but that's the thing is that, like, I am a person who I don't make a lot of money, And I'm very happy.
Right.
I'm very happy because of perspective and going through things. I'm not like, I'm not broke. I'm just anything.
You can be very rich in other ways.
Of course.
In your friendships and your families, you know.
I think happiness it's taking a minute to breathe and being like, I think is something you do. You're not lucky into happiness. You become happiness. You work on being happy. You rewire your brain to be happy. Unless, I don't know about depression, all that bullshit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like in comedy, there was a long time in comedy where I was like, I'll be happy if I get this. I'll be happy if I
The day
get
it never
this.
comes, does it?
And the minute you get it,
It never comes.
it doesn't do anything.
Right.
And then you realize, oh my God, that journey was the fun part. And I didn't even get to experience.
Because I was so focused on the
Right.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, it's like, realize you might be living in your happily ever after. You might be there. Just be like, you could like stop waiting for the kiss or the movie. It's like, nah, man, like high school maybe was the problem. And now you're in the happily ever after. So a lot of those people you're talking about, the remembering and the whatever, it's like, well, most happy people are people who I think are choosing to be happy through my experience. Or they had something in their life that clicked that showed them like, no, I'm just gonna, like, I'm not gonna be miserable. I'm not gonna be a miserable fuck all of the time.
How do you feel about striving?
Perfect.
like-
right? Yes. You can
like-
still have goals.
Yeah, like
those-
having goals. How do you have goals and then also enjoy the journey? What's the balance? Because like really pursuing a goal it seems like it can almost has to involve some frustration with not being there, some little, drive of like you're not doing enough, a little bit of dissatisfaction to get you going. And obviously the people that are the most driven in the world, most of them are not, chill. Most of them are not chill. Let's put it that way. And that's not a criticism.
Yeah.
That's a description, a neutral description. So how do you feel about balancing that?
So that's what I'm really struggling with right now.
Yeah.
Because my son makes me happy. My wife makes me happy. I'll be honest, this makes me happy.
Me too.
I still have goals and things I want to do, and a lot of things that I've never gotten, and it makes me very unhappy that I haven't. But I'm still generally happy. But I wonder, because I know so many psychopaths who I always call it Forrest Gump. I have a friend who I call her Forrest Gump because she ran through. When Forrest Gump is running through Nam, and then he just keeps running, and then he gets out of the forest and realizes, he goes, or the jungle, he goes like, where are my friends? So he's got to run back and get Bubba. And he starts getting everyone. I have a lot of friends who spent their comedy career running, then get to the top and go,
it's lonely.
what the fuck? So then they have to come back and get their friends. That being said, I've never made it out of the jungle, but I've been happy in the jungle. So I do worry. It's like, maybe if I had more of that psycho in me, step on people's necks. Like, look, it took me 6 months to get you on this podcast. If I was a psycho, I would have walked up to you when you're playing with Noam and been like, let's go now.
Yeah, but you know what I would have said? Fuck you. I'm tired of people trying to fucking exploit me.
Right, but if I wasn't being a dick about it, like if I was just like,
If you
oh,
weren't being a
man,"
dick about it,
like I could have been more pushy, more, but not as
you could have.
credible.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, you're right.
Most
You're
of
right.
the people in this business
You're right.
know how to
You-
do it charismatically.
I think that's right. You could have been. You could be more pushy, without, and still not get to the line where it begins to backfire.
right.
There is a line where it begins to backfire, but
And you would have been on this podcast.
yeah, and I'm the
months
same
ago.
way. I could be a lot more pushy and assertive than I am, without it backfiring. I think.
Yeah, like I was sitting with Judd Apatow the other
Yeah.
day, and I'm sitting here like, he was very nice. We talked and left. Part of me goes, if I was a maniac, I would have been like, hey man,
This
I got
is your networking moment.
5 movies to pitch you, because I have 5 movies that I have so much shit to give the world
Dude,
that I just can't
that's
get
awesome.
to the next level because I'm not. I don't want to. I want to add more happiness.
Yes,
and by that,
dude,
it's
Well, I think the thing to do is
You know
to
what I mean?
like, to outsource that to somebody. You know,
You wanna do
that's fuck no.
right.
I mean, well, like in my case, I have a manager who he will do all, most of that,
Yeah.
so that I don't have to, and not just so that I don't have to, but because I won't.
yeah,
Like left to my own devices, I will just kind of like be slightly bitter about like that I haven't done shit for a long time in order to keep living in my happy space where I'm not like bugging and pestering and pushing and selling myself all the time. So, but at the same time, it helps to have someone that will do that for me for a cut, because I'm happy when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
When it happens, I'm happy. I just don't want to do it.
I agree.
Know? And I hate feeling like, so like when I meet famous, like very famous people on occasions, I'm so sensitive and hate to ever be seen as like a mooch or someone that is trying to grab a little bit of what they've built.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've done a good job. And, you know, because I think people, and certainly if I got to that level of fame, and even the little level of fame that I have gotten, I am resentful of people that I feel are just trying to take.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very sensitive to that. And I'm sensitive to ever being that to somebody else. And I assume a lot of people are like that. So I think I would, but you know, it's a hard thing. It's a hard line to walk.
It's a hard balance.
It's a hard line to walk for sure.
Yeah, I had a manager for a while, and I think she was gaslighting me. It's just like,
in what way?
I was like, everything that didn't go through was always my fault. It was always like, well, you do it this way, blah, blah, and I didn't realize, and because I'm so loyal, and she might not have been or whatever, but who knows? I have such a loyalty problem.
Yeah.
That I stayed with her way too long.
Yeah.
And now that she said that classic thing to me, which I don't even want to get into, of like, oh, they're just not looking for white people.
Who's that? Who wasn't just looking for white people?
Anytime anything didn't happen. Agents.
It's because you're white.
They're not looking for white people right now. And I said, do not tell me that. And first of all, it's your job to not see me as a white person. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they need to see me as a moneymaker. They need to see me for ideas. They need to see me for all the great things I have to offer.
Right.
If you're selling me as a white guy, you're not a good salesman.
I got this great comic for you. He's totally different from all the others. First off, he's white.
He's white. Right.
He's a white guy.
Right. Because I had this happen in comedy very early on. I was auditioning at a comedy club, and the guy looks at me and he goes, look, you're funny. I got a million white guys who look just like you. Now, this is pre any of the things that are happening now. This is like 2008. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I went, well, if you're not seeing something that's not that, I'm not good enough. Right. And the next year, I came back, and I got passed because I was like, I'm going to pick my material, so it's all very personal. I'm going to make sure that this...
Distinguish yourself in some way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So then I did that, and I got passed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this wasn't about white men or anything about. This was about... And let me also tell you this. This is something that genius that Anthony DeVito is like one of my best friends, comedians, said to me. When my manager did tell me that they didn't want me on because they had enough white people on this thing. Yeah. And I went, what the fuck? I was real mad about it, you know? Yeah. And he goes, well, you can take that as an excuse and then you don't have to work anymore.
Right.
You can just go, cool. They don't want me because I'm white. Right. Yeah,
but I'm great.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm great. I don't need to improve anything.
Right.
Or you can take it as.
Or you can take the road as work harder.
Right.
And you will get better. Yeah. And even if the white thing was true, the other road leads you to working harder.
Totally.
And I was like, holy...
That is a very well-adjusted response.
Yeah.
That is the response that a well-adjusted person probably takes in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wallow.
You don't wallow.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you forget, sometimes you don't realize you're wallowing.
Right.
You're just in that hole.
Yeah.
And you have to remember to be like, nah, man.
Yeah.
You have another option.
Right.
Work harder. For all the problems this country has, there's always an angle.
Right.
There's always a way because money is
so
king.
I am curious, was it that is it someone that wants to curate a diverse comedy set for the audience sake? Like, I don't want to have too many white guys in a row because the audience will be bored or something? Or is it like an ideology thing? Like they want to, it's like some moral quest. I want to do good in the world, and there's too many white guys. They need to give it up.
So there's two times it happened to me specifically. The one time it was with, I don't give a fuck. It was at a meeting with and miserable meeting from start to finish. And like these two ladies just didn't get it. And I was like being fun. I just go, hey, like, what is it that you're looking for? And they went, oh, we're looking for women to create content for women. And I went,
perfect.
Why am I here? Why am I here? You know what I mean? And so that was like, that I think was them, and good for them. They were women who were like, well, I want to create stuff for women. Okay, whatever. The second one was another. It's like I would say at the time was. They just said, we're not taking things from white people right now. And I think to them, they looked at me and smiled. Like, aren't we heroes? And I was like,
were they white? I mean,
it was 4 people. One was white. One, I don't remember the makeup, but it was pretty. It was kind of diverse, but it was at the time it was a heroic thing they were saying, and I was like, oh, okay, and I wasn't like mad. It didn't really, whatever. And I was like, no, it's good. We need this. And the reality is, but now I have
white people are the only group of people that will ever applaud discrimination against themselves. Truly on planet Earth,
and
amazing.
Well, you feel when all of society is pushing you, it does make you go, oh, because then if you say you fight against it, then all of a sudden you're a racist and you're this and you're that. And I'm like, and I'm none of those things.
You're an angry white guy,
right? And the reality is this. I believe, and this is where I take solace, is the pendulum was swinging, and I might be taking. I think they went a little too far, because you can't just say we're not taking white people right now. Like, that's crazy. But it's going to even out, and I think when it evens out, a lot more people who didn't have chances before will have chances.
I think the only way we'll even out is if people push back against it.
Right. And I think that's
like, it won't happen automatically.
Right.
You know, because the people swinging the pendulum, really, the people really behind it would be happy for the pendulum to stay out there and go further and further.
Well, see,
forever.
The people swinging the pendulum, this is the thing that pisses me off. They were very good at saying I couldn't have something, but the people were telling, the heads of the networks were white people. So I'm like, why don't you give them your job? They're not sitting here being like, yeah, I'm going to be a hero. Take my job. Next in line, black person or lesbian woman. They were like, no, we're just not going to give any more white people stuff, even though we were the ones who weren't giving black people stuff before. You know, it's like we were doing a thing, so now we're going to fuck up the guy who spent his life doing comedy for that reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I'm just not very funny. Like, it also could just be all of that, and that was the excuse they grabbed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so I'm not too negative about it, but I'm also not, I think that it's also because of the right wing. Enough stuff I hate, you know, like Republican, Democrat, whatever. I hate all that shit. But when they go so crazy, eventually, sometimes some of the stuff you go, well, there are some points on a lot of this, because I'm not saying Republicans are crazy. The top of both sides are insane, but there are people who have in the center. There are people who go, no, this makes sense on both sides. Like the abortion thing. I'm a liberal. That's abortion. I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I was just talking to someone about this. Sometimes it can seem like you can get labeled as brave or heroic for saying like pretty moderate things now. Yeah. Because the extremes have become so extreme, like the far left and the Marjorie Taylor Greene far right. It's all gotten so crazy that if you're just like, well, listen, I will say about hiring, I think you should hire the best person. I don't think that's radical in either direction. I think that is a very common sense idea. I do think it is possible to, I will say, I have a podcast. For my podcast, I'm going to hire the best person for the job, and I don't care what their skin color or their gender is. And I will do work to try to figure out who the best person is. Right. It's not that I can't possibly be biased. Right. Sure, I can. Everyone's a little biased, but when I have an incentive to really get the answer right, I'm going to do my homework, try to figure out who's the best, and I don't care what they look like.
I mean, they have to have big ass titties.
They have to have huge titties, of course. Yeah, they have to have a huge ass.
Male or female.
Yeah.
Big
preferably
ass
male.
titties.
Preferably male. Male with a big ass.
I agree with you.
For. Yeah.
I think when all this was happening, the problem is that they had filters. All you had to do was remove the filters. Stop having the filters. Stop saying we're not, but give a little push. It is. I agree with you. I mean, I agree with.
But again, I have the melanin force field, right? So I can say that, and people won't call me a racist. Some people might call me an Uncle Tom, but I won't be called a racist. Whereas you say that, you're opening yourself up to being called the worst thing that you could possibly be, and that's a very scary situation for people. People are just like, fuck it, I'm not going to talk about this, or I'm going to pretend to agree that caring about skin color suddenly somehow is the answer to racism.
Right. I want to pause you there, and this is something I don't know because I've never been tested. And I'm so sorry, I've been keeping you longer than I asked. The big problem with being called racist is I think a lot of people go, am I? Maybe I am, and you get scared. But I truly know I'm not, because racism is stupid. It's a stupid person thing, right? It's like, no, I don't judge people by their race. I I will judge people by they look at me. The fact that you haven't blinked all podcast is scary as fuck. Your skin doesn't have anything to do with it. But you know what I mean? So it's like, I always go through, every comedian does this. Every time I get in the shower, I'm given the speech of what I would do when I get canceled. You know what? How I would defend myself.
Yeah.
And the
You're
reality.
studying every other case of cancel to see what works and what doesn't, and coming up with your 10-point plan for when it inevitably happens.
What I would do. Because I mean, I've said things. My big problem now is I'd love to go be a teacher. I'd love to be a school teacher. I can't.
Why
I had
not?
a podcast for 7 years.
Because kids will dredge something up. They'll find your podcast.
Absolutely. Parents, and they'll shut me down. I go,
And they'll clip 5 seconds of it.
yeah, but how is that okay? I was a comedian. I wasn't in prison. You know what I mean? I can't have
Probably, if you had been in prison, probably be better.
it'd be way better.
Yeah. It'd be like he did his time. Listen, he did it. Doesn't matter that he raped 10 kids.
I had a whole thing of questions I was going to ask you. We got to none of them.
It's okay.
I just want to see if I remember any of them, what they were. It's that, first one, abortion. Second was, what are we? Which maybe we'll get to next time. And then there's a bunch of other silly ones. Let's see, what are we was crazy. Race, what's the deal? Have we covered that?
I'm getting a feeling you don't take very long to prepare for these.
Oh, no, that was on the car ride over.
What's the deal? I wish I could do that with my podcast guests. I get Richard Dawkins on. Hey, so biology, like, what's the whole deal?
Oh, man. Have you talked to Richard Dawkins? I would.
Yeah, I had him on like 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
It was great.
My top 5 humans to talk to. I would love to. Sam Harris, Conan O'Brien. Whoa.
Wow, you can't remember the other 3.
And I just thought of them too. Conan, Sam. Who's got some big ass titties? No, probably Larry David. Will Ferrell, and there's another one I forgot. Oh, and Aesop Rock. Those are my
ASAP Rocky?
Aesop Rock.
Oh, Aesop Rock.
Aesop Rock.
Who's that? I thought you said ASAP Rocky.
I'm gonna turn you on to.
Wow, that was gonna be such a curveball for me.
That's the problem, because Aesop Rock is
Who's
this
it?
other rapper who's been around forever, and then Aesop Rocky came out, and everyone was all the Aesop Rock heads who are like,
Wow,
huge.
I don't even know who ASAP Rocky
oh,
is.
dude, I'll turn you on to him.
Wow.
And he's like a fresh pair of underwear. At first, he's restrictive, but then he's a part of you. Wayne's World. It's
My dad made me watch that movie when I was a kid.
Did it hold up?
I don't remember loving it,
Yeah.
but he held up for him.
Yeah, as a kid, when I was swing, it's like that's sexual harassment. But those are my guys. And you've talked to Dawkins and Sam Harris, those two of my guys. That's great.
Conan, ASAP Rock, and who's the 4th one? Larry David.
Larry David would be
David.
fun. Although he would
Great.
not want to talk to me, so
No.
I let him slide.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
I forget who was telling me they met him in real life, and he was like, they saw. Oh yeah, my friend's dad met him and was like, "You're Larry David. I'm such a huge fan," and he just rolled up the car window. On him. And he was like devastated at the time, but in retrospect, he was like, "That is what Larry David would do."
And now he can because of the show.
Yeah.
It's like that's like
You
you'd
can't
be
even
like,
hate him because like you like that part.
that's
of
what
him.
you want him for.
Yeah.
Right. All right, let's land this plane. I'll ask you this. You got to go?
Oh no.
Well, no, we're going to land this plane, but we might play either way. If he's here or not, we're going to do a deal with it. Either I got to deal with it by myself, or maybe Coleman will be here to deal with it.
Who is coming to deal with it?
Maybe you, or maybe Nikki, the producer.
yeah, okay.
Maybe not, but you don't have to.
All right.
We don't. I don't know why I'm doing this on air. This is very weird. I want to thank you, dude. Thanks. This was great. Did you have a good time?
I did.
I really did
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That was really, really, and I
Very
knew
fun.
too. I know the minute I just throw a thing. We did, I think, 40 minutes on abortion, which was clearly on the plan, but
And
I didn't even
genocide.
bring it. And
Somehow at the
genocide.
same time.
Fun.
And both we put a bow on those,
Yeah. I see
and
that.
they never need to be talked about again.
We got it.
Game, set, match.
So let me ask you this, and this was one question I did want to ask, because this is something that when you argue, and this should have been something I opened with, do you want to win, or do you want, this is like such a fucking, see, I always go in thinking, no, I just want the truth. I want the best answer. And I think the problem with society now is everyone wants to win, and no one wants a real answer. You know,
Yeah. Well,
what I mean?
I guess I want, the way I would say is I want to win because I'm right.
Right. That's a great answer.
And it's not that I enjoy losing arguments. It's that I think a lot about first coming to figuring out what is right before I advocate for it.
Right. See, this is fun about me, is that no one ever told me I was smart. so I have no problems with being dumb. So I love just throwing out wild questions. And if someone goes, "You're not right, you're dumb," I go, "Always been."
That's good. Honestly,
So it's way easier to
tell you you're smart your whole life. It becomes part of your ego and your identity, and then that makes you dumber.
You
because
can't be
you're
undefeated.
You can't be open-minded.
So much more fun to be dumb.
Totally. Less pressure.
Plug your podcast again. One more
Conversations with Coleman, wherever you listen to podcasts.
time. That just seems so aggressive. I don't know why. I feel like you were throwing it at me. I don't know why you hate me. This was great. Thank you. And anything, where do they follow you on Instagram and Twitter? All that shit.
Yeah, Coleman_Hughes.
Cool.
Listen to my music at coldxman_music.
Oh, and your music video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I watched it with you at the thing, and then I saw
Yes,
it again. It was
that's right.
great.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you about A$AP Rock. I'm going to give you a playlist.
Do it.
It's going to be great. All right, thank you. And Nikki, thank you so much for stepping in for Ugly Max. Why'd I say that? Max is a good-looking guy. Sweet guy. Thank you, Nikki. Do you want them to follow you?
If they'd like, after my stellar performance today, it's Nicole C. Lyons on Instagram.
Yeah, but everyone loves you. And guys, on the sign up for the Patreon, the patreon.com/the Greg Stone Zone. So much great content. I got this cool. I had a great conversation with this emergency room doctor who was just in Ukraine. Just supply. I should hook you guys up. This guy's amazing. And I got to tell you about how I was on a billionaire's boat. I'm going to do that on the podcast. Oh, maybe who the fuck knows? I'll do that. Anyway, God bless. Good night. Bye.
Pick up your head, pick up your body, get on the bus, it's time to party. It's Gregory. It is a Saturday night, Gregory. Take your socks off and take your pants on.